Welcome, everybody. It is so nice to have you all here for day 2. I think of the 3 days of this workshop, day 2 is my favorite. Day 2, we get into really the fun stuff. This is Armor of Love. And it's talking about how we protect ourselves, but it's also talking about what we protect ourselves from. So we're going to start with talking about what we protect ourselves from. And day 1 was really about understanding yourselves. And I see everybody has gone blank. I'm talking to myself today. You're welcome to stay on incognito, but I do love seeing you and know that I'm talking to real live people. So I do love it when you go ahead and sign in and let me know you're here. So we talked, fantastic, Jasmine or Yasmin. You'll have to tell me how to say it correctly. Day 1 was internal, always about the dark. Day 2 is definitely external, and we are looking at the dark. So we're talking about forces outside of ourselves that almost everyone agrees are dark. And I want to start with reiterating from yesterday, dark and what we consider evil are not synonyms. Dark is not bad. It is not out to hurt. Dark is the womb of creation, the place of beginnings, where we go for quiet, for peace. So day 2 is about understanding the field. And there are many forces out there beyond self. Some will tell you that everything is simply a projection that you create. That is one way of looking at things. I am a big one on responsibility, that we create the challenges that we bring in the challenges that we require to grow. That is not the same thing as blame. We are not to blame for everything that comes into our life. They're very, very different. But there are forces beyond self. So unless you want to ascribe to that everything we encounter is simply a projection of ourself, and I will get into what projections are in a little bit, there are forces beyond the self. And yes, you are going to see me looking at my notes, not because I don't know my material, but because I don't want to leave anything out. I don't want to forget. I don't want to go off on tangents. I don't want to leave you without the full. I spent a lot of time creating what we're going to learn. I don't want to go off on a tangent and go somewhere else. So, what are forces of the dark outside of ourselves? We hear about entities. What are entities? What are projections? You're always hearing about cutting cords. What are cords? What's psychic interference? And beyond psychic interference, we hear about those who psychically project onto others. What is all that about? So, what are collective waves? And how do they affect each of us? None of these are inherently evil. None of them automatically make you a target. And being affected by them does not make you weak. You respond based on your frequency and how your frequency aligns with what is going on out in the multiverses and where you are aligned to pick it up. So let's start with, and little bits of this is there in your workbook. If you're really interested, take notes, because I'm not showing you my notes because only little bits of this is in my notes. I have just enough to keep me going and to keep me on track. You know, let's start with entities, because this is a word that carries so much baggage. And Sean and I use it quite a lot in our work. What are entities? And I actually got a definition. And it's, when I went to Webster, the definition for an entity is a business, a corporation. But that is not the definition from a spiritual point of view. So I looked a little further and I found one from AI, because where do we go anymore for a definition or for pretty much anything? We go to AI, because AI goes out and looks at everything that everybody has put out there and it encapsulates it little tiny. A spiritual entity is a non-physical being that exists beyond the human perception of the material world. This can include a wide range of beings from various belief systems, such as angels, demons, nature spirits, like elementals, and the spirits of deceased peoples, ghosts or souls. They are distinct from physical entities and are believed by some to possess unique characteristics and influence the physical world. So entities, even according to AI, are not by nature evil or bad. They do include those, but they are not limited to them. I would go so far as to include our guides in there, because they are non-physical beings that we interact with on a very regular basis. They have consciousness, they interact with us, they communicate with us. So any being that basically doesn't hold a physical form, or even does, can be called an entity. And this definition actually goes so far as to say gods and goddesses can be referred to as entities. I thought that was interesting. Many entities are curious. There are entities that feed on chaos. There are some that have no intention at all. And there are many that come into our lives to help us. So when someone does an exorcism, or what Sean and I like to call a clearing, they are usually clearing your vessel of beings that don't belong there. But even within your vessel, beings that come to reside within you are usually stuck and only wanting to get out because they have got lost and found their way into somewhere that they don't belong. So as I am working this whole darkness theme, a lot of what I'm doing is trying to help gain an understanding that dark is not bad. Entities are simply non-physical beings, many of whom may have your best interest at heart, and a few. I was talking to a client the other day about the fact that demons, their job is to tempt humans to, we have free will. If we don't ever get tempted, we don't ever have an opportunity to exercise that free will. We have a blueprint. We have a soul's purpose. It is not demons' job to hold souls in hell. Souls don't belong in hell at all. But that's a whole other story. But it is not a demon's job to hold souls in hell. It is a demon's job to tempt humans to stray from their soul's purpose, to stray from their blueprint. That's their job. The majority of them are actively going about their job of temptation. That's their job. And most of them, that's all they really want to be bothered doing. But just as you find humans who are not nice people, you will find demons who are not nice demons. So if you are working to help humanity and to help, you need to be careful wherever you go. With entities, it's the same thing. The majority of them are going to be no problem. Every so often, you're going to encounter one that you need to know how to take care of yourself. And that's why at the end of today, we are really going to work on heart shield and how you have your intuition turned up. So next thing we're going to look into is projections. I probably should stop and say, are there any questions about entities? And did I change anybody's point of view? Anybody get a different take on this? Okay. So nice to hear that, Yasmin. So the next thing I'm going to talk to you about are projections. It is impossible for us as human beings to go into anything, any conversation, any place, and to hear it, to see it, to experience it as it is. If all 8 of us were to experience the exact same thing, we are all going to experience it differently because it will come through our own filters. We are all going to project onto it based on what we bring into the experience. This may be minor or it may be major. This is part of why it is possible to live, and some of you know my political views and some of you may not, and either way it doesn't matter. It's why it is possible to live in a country and everybody can look at the exact same thing happening. And some can blame one side and others can blame another side. And some can see it as happening one way and others can see it as happening another way. Because we are projecting from our own experiences and our own knowings. We can change this up to a point. If we are aware that we are going into situations, bringing our own filters with us, we can make a point of listening and being aware. When we go into the spiritual realm, this can get really, really sticky because so many of us are brought up in church or we're brought up with, even if we're not brought up in church directly, there is a culture of belief systems. And even when we don't personally experience it, like I was brought up basically without religion, but I am still influenced by an overall culture of belief. And even if we don't think these things influence us, Sean was brought up pretty much without religion, and yet he brought in with him from lifetime after lifetime after lifetime a set of beliefs that he has had to work through. So sometimes our projections come not from what we have lived in this lifetime, but from things that we have brought forth with us. So projections are that which you bring into any encounter, any situation, either knowingly or unknowingly, that influence your perceptions. And they place your ideas upon another, your thoughts, your story upon another before they've even opened their mouth. And it can be something as small as, I remember when my mother was, well, when I was a kid, probably about 17, my mom went to buy a house. And we were on our way back from the beach. And we walked in to buy a house in what you wear when you're coming home from the beach, right? My mom had the settlements from the divorce. She had the money to pay for the house. The salesman wouldn't even talk to her. And we ended up walking out of that place. It was a brand new house in Orange County. And we ended up walking out, and my mom was so upset because he projected that she was wasting his time. Cost that guy a sale and probably cost him his paycheck for the month. But that is one type of projection. So, one thing. And there's one person that I was really hoping would be here today because she's asked me about this, but psychic attacks. Are they real? Yes, they're real. Are you victim to them? If you are unaware, they can take you by surprise. +90% of the time, anybody who is going to resort to a psychic attack, if they are human, they are usually a low-level practitioner. So the majority of the time, they are somebody who is not going to have the ability to actually cause damage for anybody who knows what they are doing. That is not 100% written in stone. And I don't think Sean and I have yet encountered a practitioner of any value who resorts to psychic attacks. It is not an effective method of taking down an opponent. You really have to be aiming at an absolute novice to have a psychic attack land. And even most they call them dark witches, and I hate that because they're really
warlocks.
Well, they're really people without morals and using their arts for their own, from their ego. Even most of them place a higher value on their energy than to bother sending out a psychic attack on somebody that has no ability to block it. It's like, why bother? You know, why bother to send out a psychic attack on some person who is simply out there living their life, who pissed you out at the market? It takes a lot of energy to send out a viable psychic attack. Why would you want to waste that much energy to do something like that? So yes, it's possible. If you are worried about it, you both need to learn shielding that repels, but even more, you need to learn the type of shielding that pulls in and neutralizes. And then you need to learn how to dance within. And psychic attacks, if you're coming from love, the attack hits and you send out love automatically. And that attack, all that person's going to get for it is a wave of love. And if they get a wave of love, that's like the number one thing they do not want. So, the next thing is collective waves. So, some of you, several of you here, are actually in the Global Healing Collective. We work with collective waves. When something happens that affects the collective, there's a hurricane, there's something that happens on a political front. It doesn't have to be here in the US. It can be the wars. It can be, there are lots of things that happen that send waves of emotion through the collective. Many of us who are empaths feel this through to our bones. And these collective waves can influence our emotions. We can, all of a sudden, our moods change, our sleep patterns change, this is information. And I know many of you have heard my motto, love is the offense, love is the defense, and if we sway from that, we lose. When we are met with these collective waves, often it's terror, often it's pain, these are met by opening our hearts, not by closing them down, and sending love. And when we open and meet these waves with love, we are opening ourselves and we are feeding that which is needed. So we don't need to fear these, especially as empaths. This is information. You know, we are empaths for a reason. The ability to feel the emotions of others is a gift that we need to learn to negotiate. And the darkness gives us that womb of protection in which we can take the time to work with it, to create our quiet space in which to allow ourselves to get into our heart and to allow ourselves to heal and then to send that out. So you've heard me talking about love as armor. And if any of you have taken my prior classes, I've taught you many different ways to shield. And shielding is worth doing because we get bombarded all the time with stuff from the outside. And it's important to have ways to block it from the outside. Shields don't always hold, and some things are going to come through, no matter how good we are. So shielding is not absolute sovereignty. If you're relying completely on shields for your sovereignty, it's kind of like a warrior going to war and depending on his shield, but he forgot his sword. And we use love as both our shield and our sword. Because hurting someone is never an acceptable alternative. As I say, if we choose any other course, we've lost. We are on an ascension path as humanity. And love is the lesson of the 3D. Mastery is not perfection. we are not required to get 100%. 85, 90% mastery, we're good. We're allowed to mess up. So, true sovereignty is when your heart field becomes your power source. And love isn't softness. It is not passivity. Love is the most strategic force in the universe. It disarms distortion without war. And within war, it allows you to see without distortion. To remain strong within and not lose sight of what really matters. There are times when you must deal with those who bring the war to you. And even then, love is your defense and your offense. Because if you can find the love within them, you have your way to deal with the situation. I speak from 3 years now of dealing with the Global Healing Coalition. And while we call it the Global Healing Coalition, we do way more than heal. So I'm going to talk to you just a little tiny bit about next steps with soul enhancements, and then we'll continue on with this. I did get some questions about the Path of the Sovereign Warrior and the call invitation that we have available. So what we're doing is this is here today, we're talking about the darkness pillar of the soul enhancements pathway. It's actually the 3rd pillar, but we're going into winter, and that's the perfect time to talk about the darkness pillar. So the full journey is called the Path of the Sovereign Warrior. It's a 7-week private initiation for advanced practitioners. And for those of you that are not yet advanced or do not consider yourself advanced, we do have other pathways available. Who want to step into mastery with love and precision. Inside the path, we go into field command, advanced shielding, working with entities ethically. The warrior archetype, dimensional bleed navigation, love-based power, sovereignty in action, and the integration of dark and light abilities. Because I don't discount the importance of light. We just get light everywhere we go. So I'll speak more about that tomorrow. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about working with me. But if you feel the pull already, or if you simply want to understand what your next step is, please take advantage of the Spiritual Abilities Assessment Call. It's free. It's deeply supportive. It's just you and me tuning onto your path so you know where you stand and where you're going. And Sean will drop the link into the chat. It will also be in the, I think it's in the group, but he'll make sure it's there as well.
Which one did you want me to put in the chat?
The spiritual the spiritual abilities assessment call.
Mom,
Yeah,
I'll try to find it, yeah.
thank you. So I'm kind of taking a number of different occurrences and just like telling them as if they were one. It's funny because this is kind of how I remember my childhood. But there have been numerous occasions where I have taken a hit for the collective. You can see Melody nodding. She's aware of these. So Cynthia, they've heard me. They're both in the Global Healing Collective. At the very beginning, when these hits would happen, my first instinct would be to find out who it was and how are we going to get them. And then very, very soon after that, I came to the realization that we didn't want to get them. These aren't monsters that are reaching out to hit me. Luckily, I am a force to be reckoned with. And what any being or group that is hitting me is doing is they are trying to take out a threat to humanity going up into ascension. And what we need to do is find out, why is humanity ascending a threat to this group? And almost always we have found that the reason has something more to do with a pain point that we can help to solve. That these are not, there have been a couple of exceptions, but for the main point, it has to do with a pain point, place where they are hurting. And if we can help them to solve that pain point, relieve that pain, love is what solves the problem. We don't need to fight these beings. Yes, I took a hit. Okay. I'm not hurt. I'm not dead. We can heal me. That's fine. I've got an amazing collection of people who work on me. But what's really important is we can remove this threat. We can heal humanity. We can make a difference. There are always people who give us feedback afterward as a change in the energies of the collective. And love makes the difference, not getting back. Even those few exceptions have been beings where we work with our accomplices, not accomplices. What's the word I'm looking for, Sean?
I'm not entirely
allies?
sure.
Allies, our allies, to gently just remove them where they are given back to their own people to take care of, or just removed from having contact with Earth for a while, but never harmed. Because when we forget love as our space holder, when we forget that that is who we are, then we become what we don't want to be, and we lose just because of who we become. So, I also want to talk to you a little bit about command versus collapse. You know, it's real easy when these things happen to get scared, to want to run away, to not want to deal with it anymore. Same thing happens in life. We get challenges. Sometimes we share them, sometimes we deal with them personally, sometimes we deal with them with a small group, sometimes just out. Command, you take charge. You are the one that takes command. Collapse, you let outside circumstances win. You shrink in. You hold everyone else's energy. You know, that energy isn't yours. Release it. When those outside energies come in, as an empath, when those outside energies come in, we can take them in and we can be lost. I have known many empaths who just, those energies come in and they are done. We need to learn to let those energies flow through us, not be us. And we have that ability. We are sovereign bodies. We choose. Whether we are an empath or not, we have command. We choose. And sometimes it's a learning to learn how. So fight is force, pushing and resisting. That is not command. Command is flow, letting it flow through you, through and out. It's not collapsing into it. It's not falling on the bed and just giving up. It's letting it flow through, and you're in charge. So I hope you're not wanting out of here right at 5 o'clock today. So, because I have two actual.
The spiritual assessment will be in the email being sent out, as I do not have access to it from upstairs.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm not logged in up here to that site.
Okay, so you guys hopefully will get it. So we have two practices today. And Sean will be talking for a little while for one of these. Actually, I probably should. No, we'll do the first one and then we'll do the second one. So I'm going to connect us first. So touch your heart, close your eyes, and breathe in. And release. Breathe in. And release. One more time, deep into your heart. And release. Now I want you to feel a feeling because you choose to do so. Gratitude for anyone or anything. Let that gratitude start to grow. Feel it in your heart. Let it start to make your heart get bigger. And feel your heart starting to expand. Allow your heart to expand even more. Let that gratitude grow until it is just so big it has filled your heart, and it starts to fill your body. And it expands outward, and your body is filled. And it starts to fill your aura. And let that gratitude continue to grow and to grow. There are so many things in your life to be grateful for. So many things. Think of 3 right now, things that you can be grateful for. They can be little or they can be big. And let that gratitude continue to grow until it is so big, it just spills out of your aura and you are filling the room that you are in. Let all of our heart fields connect. And now I want you to go back and I want you to feel your heart. And I want you to light the flame within it. And I want you to let that flame start to grow and expand. And let your heart field grow until it fills your entire aura. Let the love in your heart begin to fill your aura. Let it spread out until it's filling your entire energetic grid. Let it grow. Let your grid expand. Let your love grow and expand. This is your armor of love. Now, if you were to feel any type of a negative emotion, anything come in, you can greet it with love. Now I want you to start pulling that love back deep within your heart. And when you have it fully encased within your heart, so that you can tap into it at any time, when you are ready, I'm going to have you open your eyes. And Sean and I are going to talk to you about a different type of a shield. How did that feel? Before we do something else, I want to talk to you. How did that feel? Anybody want to give us some feedback? Krista.
Like Yasmina said, very calming. I would also add to that very peaceful and like ultra safe. Safer than just when I do my normal shield.
Good.
And I
And you
made
can,
like a unexpected noise during it. I was like, ah.
you can always use them together too.
I thought it was amazing. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. So our next one, and these are all new. None of you have done any of these. They're new for everybody here.
Mhm.
Is something, because Sean and I kind of brainstormed on what we do that we don't actually think about, right? Things that we just do naturally. And this is, so we named them just for the sake of naming them, but we're calling this one our sovereignty shield. And it's a 3-part shield. And Sean and I, this is something that is highly individual. So we each have our own way of doing this. So I'm going to tell you about mine. Sean is going to tell you about his. And then we're going to walk you through activating your own. And this is a shield that has 3 parts. It has mental boundaries, it has emotional boundaries, and it has energetic boundaries. And then we've given you an anchor, which you can take or reject as it fits you. So I will tell you, while I am very mental, when it comes to shielding, that is my weakest link. And I'm not real sure what I do at a mental level. So I'm not going to be very good guidance on that level. But I do know that I put up mental boundaries. I see them kind of as metallic and as sacred geometry. And for this one, it's a 10-sided, a dodecahedron type shape. My emotional boundaries, emotionally, I always go to crystals. And my emotional boundaries work with a combination of amethyst and lepidolite. And for these, I am working with diamonds. And that goes underneath, because I need my emotional protection more than I need my mental protection. And then my energetic protection is my black tourmaline and obsidian. And as I say, for me, crystals are where I go. I'm a crystalline being. I originated on a crystalline planet. Crystals are my #1 friends. My mental, I don't think are crystal. I see them as, they might be spider web, because that's more like what I see, is something very fine. And since I work very closely with the spider queen, it could well be that they're spider webs. So that is what my sovereignty shield looks like, with the amethyst and lepidolite, and then the mental, and then on top of that, my black tourmaline, that is your crystalline warrior, and your obsidian is your honesty, your truth, your not letting anything in that doesn't belong there. So Sean, why don't you explain yours?
Mine is both simpler and more complex. Simpler in that it's a entire town. For my, let's see, my mental are all books. They're all spread out throughout the town. My emotional are all crystalline mortar. Well, everything else is the bricks that keep everything working. It means that it's a lot harder for you to get rid of mine than, say, yours, than, say, Mom's, because you're having to get through an entire town rather than just break through some walls like Mom does it. But mine also has the downside of what was I looking for? Where was it at?
But it's also, they can break through one little tiny place to get in, so
Yes. It's
it's
just they have to find everything.
so it's all for you. Whatever works for you is perfect.
Very much so.
It's there is no right answer, there is no wrong answer. There is a what fits is right. And trust your instincts. Don't overthink it. Don't decide it with your brain. Whatever comes is what it's supposed to be. And you can always change it later. Just
Yes.
because you set it up one way doesn't mean that's what it stays.
It does not have to stay any one way.
You know, one of the things is what we imagine is. So you can set it up one way right now, and tomorrow you can decide, oh, that doesn't feel right, it doesn't fit, it doesn't feel good. I want it this way instead. So you imagine it a different way, and guess what? It's done.
Yep.
So the best we could do on this one to tell you how to do it was to give you a couple of very different examples and then say, now I'm going to tell you to start breathing, close your eyes, and let your imagination run rampant. Close your eyes and breathe in. And once again, I want you to go back into your heart and just breathe. And as you breathe, one breath at a time, breathe in and allow your mental boundaries to come into play. And breathe in and breathe out. And as you breathe in, allow your emotional boundaries to come into play. And breathe in and breathe out. And as you breathe in, allow your energetic boundaries to come into play. And breathe in. And breathe out. And I know I did not give you a lot of time, and that was done on purpose. Because I don't want you overthinking this. The anchor that we created is, my field is mine. I direct what enters. My field is mine. I direct what enters. My field is mine. I direct what enters. You have this in your workbook, so you can both listen or do it again through reading it. Take about another minute if you need it, and then come on out. And we will start to get ready to, just a little bit more to do after this. So, does anybody have anything to share about what you got for your sovereignty shield? Krista?
So I don't know the reason, but most of the time with what you teach, the things that you do resonate for me, so I don't try and fix what's not broken. The one thing that came in that is not identical, but it felt really amazing, is inside my dodecahedron is water. Crystal clear blue or green or blue-green ocean water. I am in an aquarium and I love it. Everything else was the same. I'm going to leave it there and give other people a chance to talk. Thank you again.
Good. Excellent. Melody?
Mine was a Fabergé spaceship.
Oh, I love that.
Saturn ring, which I thought was kind of strange. The energy, the Saturn energetic ring.
Yeah.
And liquid, but I don't know what kind of liquid. It's just the word liquid came to me.
But, you may find out at some point or you may not.
Yeah, because I have liquid in my normal shield, so I don't know if that's the reason why it flowed into this or not.
Love it. A Fabergé spaceship.
Yeah.
I like that. Anyone else? Suzanne?
Yes, I don't know why I connected with my chakras. So for me, it was the third eye chakra, the heart chakra, and then the energy field of the aura around me.
Love it. Okay. As I say, there is no right or wrong. It is yours. Cynthia?
Well, what I got is that for my mental, it's like, oh, mycelium. Okay. That made sense to me. I didn't get anything for the emotional or energetic yet, but the energetic is like I kind of like almost like a have you ever seen like a crystal ball but light projecting from it?
Okay. No, I've seen the ones that have like electric where yeah.
Except it's mainly white or white with maybe a little gold. I mean, mainly white with some other, yeah.
Yeah. I'll be interested to hear the rest of it. Okay. So, our crystal ally for today is black tourmaline, which grounds the nervous system. It actually connects the hemispheres of the brain. It was one of the crystals that I used to give the kids in my class to help them to be able to think easier. It absorbs and transmutes distortion. It anchors the body safely. It is the warrior of the crystal kingdom. And it also blocks EMF. So if you want to Keep it in front of your screen. It's a good place to have it. And I'm not going to do all 3 journal prompts today, but I'm going to do just one of them. And that is, what needs to shift for love to become my armor? Because we're already running over, so I'm not going to do all 3 of them today.
Yeah.
Give you about 2 minutes on that, and then I'll see if anybody wants to share. And we will wrap it up. So, would anybody like to share what needs to shift for love to become your armor? Okay, I've got one question. I would like to see if I could get an answer from as many as possible. Is there anything new that you learned here today? Or anything unexpected that you learned here today? Suzanne.
Yes, I love the idea of the flame of a candle in the heart with the door opening. I can see that, like putting it into a piece of art.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And for me to have more love shift into my life, I just need to practice the technique more. And so, yes, it's been a great session. I always, even yesterday, I contemplated a lot about the different topics that we talked about. And so it's a wonderful spiritual journey following you, Deirdre. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste.
So, anybody else? Anything new you learned here today? Okay, well, Krista learned 2 new shields.
It's always good when people learn new ways to shield themselves.
Yasmin.
Thank you for this class, because for me it was good to reflect. A lot of what you're saying is things I already know. I just consciously don't think about it. So the way with the flame in the heart, and also the second one, which for me actually was a pyramid. So those 2 are the 2 new things, but everything else was just confirming what I already know, but it also made me reflect on situations that I have experienced You know, it's like right now I have my cat laying right
Yes.
here, and every single time I tap into this realm, whether it be my cards, a call, whatever, she's all over me.
Oh, yes, she feels the energy.
Exactly. So
have-
it's really, really nice.
I have one cat that if I do healings, he is always here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So thank you very much.
You are welcome. I hope to see you for another day of this.
Is that tomorrow?
There's one tomorrow and one on Friday.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you both.
Stay.